This is a guide to historical research developed specifically for members of the Fiji History Community who are interested in pursuing their own individual projects. My name is Nicholas Halter, and I'm a history lecturer at the University of the South Pacific in Fiji. In this series of short 5-minute videos, I will walk you through a step-by-step approach to historical research. I have outlined here 7 steps to historical research. They are: select a topic, background reading, narrow your topic, gather information, record information, interpret information, and writing. The first task is to select a topic that interests you. It's okay if you start with the broad topic at first. For example, you might be generally interested in the Fijian chiefly system or in Indian indenture. Or it might be a particular event or source that sparked your interest. Perhaps a story that your grandmother told you, a piece of jewelry that has been passed down in your family, or a photograph from the 1950s. Your first step should be to identify the subject and the time period you wish to focus on. The next step is to do some background reading on your topic. The purpose of this step is to figure out what has already been written about your topic, what the main arguments and issues are, and to identify any other potential sources. For example, you may be interested in the history of your village in the 1960s. Perhaps no one has written a book specifically about your village, but you may be able to find books about the history of Fiji in general, which might mention your village. Were there any major events in Fiji that affected your village in the 1960s? You could construct a timeline to figure out what was happening at that time to use as a guide. In the past, the library was your first destination to visit. This may be the USP Library, the Carnegie Library in Suva, or a local library. You can search the catalogues online, browse the shelves, or talk to a librarian. I recommend doing all 3. Now students tend to prefer Google searches. The internet is indeed a helpful tool, as long as you are aware that the reliability of sources found on the internet are not guaranteed. For example, Wikipedia may be useful to get a broad overview of your topic, but the credibility of information on Wikipedia cannot be determined because sources of information are not always provided. When you begin your background reading, look at the back of the book to save your time. The index can guide you to pages where the relevant subject is listed and give you ideas for other subjects to use in your searches. The bibliography might tell you other primary or secondary sources that could be available, and some books also have a list of footnotes or endnotes too. As you do your background reading, you should be trying to gradually narrow your topic. This is the third step. Think carefully about exactly what it is you want to find out. To do this, it is useful to set a research question. Try and be as precise as possible with your question to help you undertake focused research. For example, if you have been inspired by a photo from the 1950s, a very broad research question like, "What was life like in the 1950s?" may make it difficult to focus your research. A good specific question might be, "What was life like for teenagers in Suva in the 1950s?" Follow-up questions that are even more specific may also help. For example, what did teenagers in Suva wear in the 1950s? Or what sort of music did teenagers listen to in the 1950s? In the next video, I will explain step 4 onwards. If you have any further questions or feedback on this presentation, please email me on nicholas.halter@usp.ac.fj. Thank you.